Today is January the 17th. Does God still punish sin? Let's find out together as we read Genesis 17 to 19. Well, today as we read through the Bible in a year, I would like you to read Genesis chapter 17 to 19. As before, if you can, this is a great time to just pause this, read those 3 chapters, and then come back. So we see in Genesis chapter 17, the covenant is renewed with Abraham. The Lord keeps the covenant fresh in Abraham's mind. And now he changes both Abram's and Sarai's name to Abraham, Abraham meaning the father of nations, and Sarah, Sarah I believe meaning princess. It's important to recognize that God keeps that covenant in front of Abraham. He lets him know that Sarah will be the mother of many, many people. 18 and 19 deal with a very, very different reality. Even though God is promising to bless the nations through Abraham, he still punishes sin. And in chapter 18, verse 17 to 21, the Lord, 3 individuals visit Abraham. And it becomes obvious that they are heavenly visitors. Abraham provides them with food, and at the end of the time, 1 stays behind and 2 move on to Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, the one that stays behind lets Abraham know that he will have a son through Sarah, and it'll take place about a year from that visit. But in verse 16 and 17, after the 2 leave for Sodom and Gomorrah, the Lord said, "Should I hide my plan from Abraham?" This is now clearly identified as God, as Jehovah. "Should I hide my plan from Abraham?" the Lord asked. "For Abraham will certainly become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed through him. I've singled him out so that he will direct his sons and their families to keep the way of the Lord by doing what's right and just. Then I'll do for Abraham all that I've promised." And the Lord said to Abraham, "I've heard a great outcry from Sodom and Gomorrah because their sin is so flagrant. I'm going down to see if their actions are as wicked as I've heard. If not, I want to know." So at the same time that God says, "I will bless the nations of the earth through Abraham," I've singled him out to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and what's just. At the same time, he says, Sodom and Gomorrah is not doing what's right and what's just. They will be punished. Now, you have read or can read the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. You can see how deep their sin had become. And you can see these 2 angels as they do punish Sodom and Gomorrah. We began this study with the question, does God punish sin today? The answer is yes, he does. He inevitably punishes sin. That punishment sometimes is allowing the sin to carry out its influence in the life of the sinner. Sometimes God punishes sin directly in this life by bringing difficulties on the sinner. Sometimes he waits, and that punishment is seen in the afterlife. But yes, God does punish sin. Today, spend time taking a look at your own life. Is there anything that you need to confess to the Lord? Please like, follow, and subscribe to this devotional on whatever platform you use to listen to it. Email your questions to us at questions@becomehope.com. Tomorrow, we'll ask the question, does God expect us to make sacrifices?